as we continue a significant non-title tag team matchup, setting the pair of Terry Funk and Cactus Jack against the undisputed World Tag Team Champions John Van and Guy Cormier, the original.
This next non-title tag match is scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. First, from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, weighing 287 pounds, Cactus Jack.
Well, it is well known to every RWL fan, the originals, John Van and Guy Cormier, the undisputed World Tag Team Champions, have been on top by beating just about every team they have ever faced, and they are ever in search of a new and exciting challenge. And if this doesn't fit the bill, I don't know what will. Terry Funk and Cactus Jack, who have wrestled as partners, as rivals, in the wildest death matches in all of wrestling history. And what a challenge this is going to be for the originals, facing Terry Funk and Cactus Jack.
My jaw nearly hit the floor when Sylvia came up with this idea.
And his partner from the Double Cross Ranch in Amarillo, Texas, weighing 240 pounds, he's the Dallas-Fort Worth Wrestling State Champion, the hardcore legend, Terry Funk.
Woo, baby! Woo, baby, you guys! Even without hardcore rules and hardcore tools, the Funker and Cactus Jack, that's a tough team to try and beat. Sylvia's confidence in John and Guy is limitless, but even she's gonna have to face that this one won't be easy on the originals. On the other side of the coin, though, John and Guy have stayed at the top by not even concerning themselves with who their opponents will be on any given night. If they could whip on Zeus and the Great Khali, they're probably not worried about Cactus and Terry. Just aware that they'll have to stay focused in there against these two.
They will absolutely have to remain 100% focused against these exceptionally tough opponents.
And that tune means it's party time, because here comes the undisputed World Tag Team Champions.
Their opponents, along with Sylvia Strong, at a combined weight of 510 pounds, the Chicago Hammer John Van, and the Staten Island Cripple Guy Cormier, the RWL undisputed World Tag Team Champions, the originals.
The winningest tag team in all of RWL history, the undisputed World Tag Team Champions John Van and Guy Cormier, have dominated in RWL since their debut way back in 2012, and they are still in there punching and still the undisputed World Tag Team Champions. And it's not their first tag team title either. They have held tag team gold more than half a dozen times.
With this run, with the undisputed world titles running for years, only Jeannie Parker's got a longer record.
The originals have never shied away from a fight, never shied away from new challengers, and these are as new as they come. John Van and Cactus Jack initiating contact in this matchup as referee Walt Rothburn sounds the bell. They come center ring. Cactus Jack opens up a delivered kick to the midsection by the Chicago Hammer John Van. Cactus Jack whipped to the far right corner. There's a shoulder right to the chest of Cactus Jack. John Van assisting Jack out of the corner with an alley-oop. And, oh, look at this, quickly making his way to the top turnbuckle, wasting absolutely no time whatsoever. An elbow right across the chest and an immediate cover. 1, 2, and there goes the referee. Oh my. Well, this is going to be problematic. The Chicago Hammer, ignoring the situation, resuming his work on Cactus Jack, sends a referee. The Chicago Hammer locks it up with Cactus Jack, whips him to the original's corner. The referee beginning to stir here as John Van slams the head of Cactus Jack into the turnbuckle. Cactus Jack counters with an elbow, locks it up with John Van, biting the face of the Chicago Hammer. He goes behind on John Van. There's a headlock punch, and down goes John Van center ring. Cactus Jack with a stomp driving the knee into the canvas and hard overhand right. And a headbutt, taking John Van back down. And look out, because here comes the Funker. Terry Funk moving in on a motionless John Van with a blatant choke. Terry Funk charges, running DDT, dropping John Van on the top of his head. Oh, the Texas crowd going crazy, but here comes Guy Cormier. There's a forearm taking Terry Funk down to the canvas. A clubbing overhand right from the Staten Island Cripple, followed by another one. Guy Cormier slams Terry Funk headfirst into the turnbuckle. Funk counters, gets a hold of Guy Cormier. A headlock punch. Goes behind on Cormier. Delivers a shot to the back, whips him to the ropes, makes the duck under, and delivers an elbow right to the face of Guy Cormier, followed up with a driving knee right to the head. Terry Funk making his way to the top turnbuckle here. And here he comes, big time crossbody. We've seen a lot of that one tonight. Here's a pin, 1, 2. A near fall. This early on, this is going to be an intense tag team matchup. Cormier tags in John Van as Terry Funk showboats to the crowd and catches a forearm for it. John Van gets a hold of him, clubbing overhand right to the Funker. A second one. He locks it up with the Funker, kick to the midsection, tries for the DDT, but is quickly countered in a clothesline from Terry Funk. The Funker drives a knee into the arm of the Chicago Hammer. John Van quickly back up, catches another clothesline from Terry Funk. A flying shoulder takes Funk down. John Van gathers Terry Funk back up, whips him into the Originals corner. The Chicago Hammer, countered by the Funker, who escapes the Originals corner, gets a hold on John Van, has him up for a long vertical suplex, dropping him towards center as Terry Funk tags in Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack catches a flying shoulder from John Van. Van locks up Cactus, whips him to his team's corner. The Chicago Hammer going to work on the arm against the rope. John Van tags in Guy Cormier, Sylvia Strong, cheering the boys on as Cactus is whipped to the ropes, and a double back body drop as Guy Cormier takes over for the Originals, catches a kick to the head from Cactus Jack. Cactus with a clubbing overhand right to Guy Cormier. A headbutt takes Cormier down. Cactus Jack going for a quick pin. 1, not even a 1. Cormier quickly powering out of the pin. They lock up again. Cormier with a neckbreaker drop on Cactus Jack. And here comes Terry Funk again. Cormier with a hard right hand drops him down. Both members of this team are laid out. The Originals in control of things at the present time. Whoa. The spinning punch turns into a hip toss. Excellent counter from Terry Funk. A rolling elbow to the back of Guy Cormier. Cormier quickly back up and is quickly taken right back down again by Terry Funk. The Funker turns Cormier over, turns him back over again, delivers an elbow to the leg of Guy Cormier. Terry Funk snaps the leg, not once but twice. And now raining hard right hands on the head of Guy Cormier. Terry Funk with a spiteful stomp to the face of Cormier. Guy counters with a shot to the midsection. Locks it up with the Funker. Kick to the midsection and a DDT. Face first into the canvas goes Terry Funk. Guy Cormier locks it up with the Funker. Whips him to the Originals corner. Moves in. A kick to the midsection from Cormier. He gets a hold of the Funker above the ankles and an alley-oop assist out of the corner. Guy Cormier already busted open and bleeding at the hands of Terry Funk. The Funker laid out center ring and struggling to get to a standing position. He is not going very well at all as Guy Cormier continues to rally the crowd here in Dallas. Clubbing overhand right from Cormier. Rounds him up by the wrist and a jumping knee takes him down. Cormier covers, hooks the leg. 1. But just a 1, says referee Walt Rothburn. Cormier Locks it up with the Funker. Back into the Originals corner he goes, but he counters and escapes again. Gets a hold of Cormier. Sets him up for a knee breaker. Oh, that's a painful move. Cormier rolls out to the outside quickly. Terry Funk misses with the right. Cormier locked up by the Funker, a headlock punch. Funker goes behind again and delivers a headbutt right between the shoulder blades of Guy Cormier. Follows it up with another one, and Guy Cormier is laid out center ring as Terry Funk goes for the pin. One. Again, just a one. This matchup is going to be something crazy. Oh, shoulder tackle from Terry Funk. A kick to the head from Cormier. A hard right, a second, and a kick to the midsection to Terry Funk. Puts him in the far right corner. Guy Cormier drapes the leg over the middle rope, delivers a kick to the calf of Terry Funk. Cormier has him up for a spine buster, and down he goes. Cormier turning it over to the Chicago Hammer, John Van, Sylvia Strong. Watching the boys work. Her top money spinners, the undisputed World Tag Team Champions, the Originals, with the advantage at the present time in this matchup between Terry Funk and Cactus Jack. An abdominal stretch from the Chicago Hammer. Won't get a submission, but he is certainly trying to wear down Terry Funk. Terry Funk counters it into a hip toss. The Funker catches a kick to the head from John Van. Van gathers up the Funker again. Right back into the corner he goes as John Van sets up a little project here. Oh, head first, practically the shelf of the jaw into the turnbuckle. And the Chicago Hammer quickly countered into a back body drop by Terry Funk. And again, another quick pin here. 1, 2, and yet another near fall. What a matchup we've got going here. The Originals definitely being tested. John Van catches an elbow from Terry Funk as he makes his way to the corner, tags in Cactus Jack. John Van with a shoulder tackle to Cactus. A rebound off the ropes, misses with the leg drop. Cactus Jack just a step too fast. A drop kick takes Van down to the canvas. The Chicago Hammer slammed face first into the mat by Cactus Jack. Cactus Jack repeating the move. Now John Van apparently opened up and bleeding. Oh, a quick headbutt from Cactus. Cactus Jack with a fist drop to John Van. A driving knee right across the chest. Cactus Jack turns it over to Terry Funk. John Van making his way to a standing position in the corner. And Terry Funk charges and catches a pair of boots to the face from John Van. Terry Funk locks it up with John Van. Has him by the singlet. Gauging the weight here. Vertical suplex from Terry Funk. The Funker with a kick to the face of John Van. Falling neckbreaker. Oh, excuse me, that was a stunner. Terry Funk drops the leg across the arm of the Chicago Hammer, John Van. A stomp to the back as Terry Funk delivers his parting shot and turns it over to Cactus Jack. The Chicago Hammer with a clothesline to Cactus. Takes a rebound off the rope. Nails the leg drop that time. John Van gathers up Cactus Jack. Cactus counters the whip. Drives a knee into the chest of the Chicago Hammer. Followed up with a stomp to the chest. A second. Cactus Jack setting it up here. He charges and another driving knee right to the head of the Chicago Hammer. Tries to go after Guy Cormier and catches the right. Turns his attention back to John Van. Van, quick with the counter, slams Cactus Jack down to the mat. A stomp to the arm of Cactus Jack. The Chicago Hammer, John Van, dragging a motionless Cactus Jack towards center ring. Delivers a kick to the ribs. Turns Cactus over. Drops an elbow on the leg of Cactus Jack. Makes his way to his corner and tags in the Staten Island crippler Guy Cormier. The Originals firmly in control of the situation at the present time. And here we go. There's the brain claw. How many matches have the Originals won with this move? Cactus Jack fighting, slowly fighting his way to a standing position. Delivers a couple of shots to the midsection of Cormier. Cactus charges running DDT with the Staten Island crippler Cactus Jack. makes his way to his corner, tags in Terry Funk, the Funker. Back in the ring, and whoa, kick to the midsection of Guy Cormier, sets up the neck breaker and nails it. Cactus Jack watching as Terry Funk goes to work on Guy Cormier. Cormier counters with a shot to the face. Gets a hold of Terry Funk, whips him to the ropes. Beautifully executed power slam. Cormier goes for the pin. 1, 2, and yet another near fall. What an intense battle we've got here. Oh, clubbing overhand right. Cormier turns his attention to Cactus Jack, goes right back to Terry Funk, a kick to the midsection, and a spinning pile driver. This could be bad news for the Funker here. Here's a cover, and oh, he is bleeding badly. Guy Cormier seriously busted open by these two hardcore legends. Terry Funk on the outside. Cormier goes to work on Cactus Jack, takes himself out to the apron, and slams him into the lip of it. John Van countered and rolled back inside the ring by Terry Funk. Cormier making a beeline back inside the ring, gets a hold of Terry Funk. A shoulder tackle takes the Funker down to the canvas. A stomp right to the face as John Van resumes his tag corner. Whoa! Leg scissor stomp to Terry Funk. Cormier makes his way to the top turnbuckle here. Here he comes, big time elbow right across the chest of Terry Funk. Cormier gathers up the Funker. Once again back into the original. A cheap shot from John Van drops him center ring. Well, he certainly got out of the corner, even if it wasn't the way he planned it. But right back in he goes again. Here comes a double team as John Van is tagged in. Terry Funk whipped to the ropes. Oh, double flapjack face first into the mat. The Chicago Hammer takes Cactus Jack out of the equation, takes himself to the outside. Both members of the team laid out on their side of the ring. John Van with a right, a left, a kick, and a clubbing overhand left to Terry Funk. Slam head first into the floor. Cactus Jack is laid out. Gonna be, oh, what a headbutt to Terry Funk from John Van. Both originals battered and bleeding as expected in a battle with two hardcore legends. John Van back inside the ring. Gathers up Terry Funk. Hard whipped into the originals corner. Here he comes. Whoa! What a spinning splash. That was beautiful. John Van covers. 1, 2, 3. Well, now the originals defeating Cactus Jack and Terry Funk by pinfall.
Here's the time, exactly 14 minutes, and your winners, the originals.
Battered, bruised, and beaten up, as you would expect any opponents of Terry Funk and Cactus Jack to be, but nonetheless, John Van and Guy Cormier picking up the win in this matchup. Look at this beautiful spinning splash from John Van, and we'll be right back with more RWL Rage right after this.